and welcome to the Golden Hour and the Manifest to Live Life Golden podcast and YouTube show. I'm Golden Duffy, your host, coming in here hot. Today went super fast. I got really immersed in some writing. I'm actually working on a new book that I'm really excited about and kind of lost track of time. So that's what happens when we're creative. And I'm going to explain to you why that is, why we lose track of time when we are in our creative flow. There's a very particular reason for that. And I'm going to share about that in just a second. So today we're talking about mindset and manifesting and how your mindset actually sets you up for either manifesting what you want or manifesting what you don't want, or even slowing down the manifestation that you are interested in. So if you have something you've been working on for a long time and you are having trouble understanding why it won't manifest, there's a couple of reasons why. One is, of course, your mindset. Your mindset is the most important thing. And backed by that is your emotions, how you feel about it, what you believe, what you know. Those energies are always in play, sending a signal to what you're looking to manifest. Now, mindset is really important. Emotions are really important, but there's another component to this that I think people forget. And in that forgetting, you get super impatient, you get super down, you lose hope, you give up on things. That is the element of time and orchestration. So the universe needs time, universe, God, source, whatever you like to call it, needs time to orchestrate something, or things need to fall into place, or people need to do certain things in order for your manifestation to happen. So sometimes the manifestations are really phenomenal and really miraculous. And so it's not that it takes time for the universe to do anything. It doesn't take time, but there are elements of orchestration that take time. There's alignment of your energy field that takes time. If you are too much in the lack of something where you're just really upset by it and you're really miserable and that actually is a very powerful place to be, believe it or not. If you can recognize that as your power, when you have really strong desire, that is power. So if you're working on something and things are getting really, really bad, things are about to change for you, because the density of energy that happens right before something manifests is pretty intense. Now, it's not always like that, but if it's something that you've been working on for a long time and you're really feeling up against it, and you're really feeling like the energy is just like almost more than you can take, a couple things will happen. Either something amazing will manifest for you because of your strong desire, or you will get so sick and tired of it that you will like burn the boats. Like you will literally just do something so, like something that you're like, you will risk things because you're so miserable that you're like, I can't stay like this anymore. So working through my fear and actually taking a leap of faith feels better than staying in this crappy situation. So there's a couple of different ways that things can manifest when they get really super dense. But knowing this is a really important part of the mindset of it, because if you know this, right? If you know that things are about to manifest when you are feeling the most negative emotion, it can actually help your energy shift. And that creates energy in the field to activate the solution to come faster. So there's a lot of really cool things that happens when you've got mindset and you understand energetic alignment. So we're going to go into a lot of science today. We're going to do some spirituality today, because manifestation is just as much science as it is spirituality. It is a beautiful marriage of the power that we have to create. And the science part of it, I think, is designed to help our logical mind to ingest some of this. Like our logical mind needs to be settled. It needs evidence. It needs to see how things work, at least for me. If you're the type of manifestor that you're like, oh, I'm just going to ride on faith and I'm just going to be spiritual and I'm going to trust, that's awesome. But for me, I really needed the breakdown of the science to understand, okay, what are my thoughts doing? What are my feelings doing? And because of that, my awareness has been so up-leveled that I am really conscious, even in really extreme situations where I'm feeling very intense emotion, to be able to be conscious in those situations, to do something to shift it, makes you really powerful, because you're not going down the rabbit hole and spending all that time in negativity. You're able to say, okay, I'm not loving the way I'm feeling. I'm not loving what I'm seeing. Like, I don't love seeing the evidence of the way I'm feeling. So how can I shift it? And one of the greatest ways to shift things is through gratitude. Gratitude in your breath, like closing your eyes, desensitizing yourself, like taking all of your sensory inside of your body and deciding how you want to feel. What do I have to be grateful for in this moment? What, can I just close my eyes and quiet down my mind? So when you are, basically the way our brain works is the front of our brain is 5% of what runs our experience here. And that is the prefrontal cortex of our brain. The 5% is where all of our dreams, all of our creation power, everything that we love, everything that we're excited about, everything we want to do in our lives, the goals that we have, all of that stuff comes from that 5%. The other 95% of our brain is based on programs and habits. And those programs and habits were brought in when we were in the third trimester of our life in our mother's body. The third trimester is when it all starts. So how your mother was feeling when she was pregnant could be part of what's going on with you today. Not to blame your mother for things, because we're not victims, but that's when those habits and patterns start to get fostered. Up until 7 years old and in that third trimester of pregnancy, you are in a low vibrational state, which is called theta state, which is basically the same thing as hypnosis. So as you're navigating life as a small child, you are taking in what's going on around you and navigating and trying to figure out how to get along in this family, this whatever your life experience is when you're growing up. So if you had a really intense experience, if you had people that weren't super loving, if you had, different situations with friends and things like that, all of those patternings, all of those belief systems are going to be placed inside of you. And then that's what that 95% most of you is being run from. I often like to call it the shitty committee, right? Like that critical part of yourself that you may feel like you don't have any control over. It's the limiting part of yourself that actually runs a lot. Now you guys know that I don't love the whole idea of like this subconscious thing that's going on that we don't have control over, because I really do believe we have control over it. I have proved it. I have evidence of it, because I've caught so many patterns, so many habits of thought, and I've been able to shift them. I've been able to up-level them to a new place. You can't change beliefs. You can't change thoughts. You have to let them go. The ones that are low, the ones that keep you down, the ones that keep you, in these patterns of self-criticalness or self-hatred or, feeling less than. All of those, they have to be let go of in order to incorporate something new. And the only way that I've seen, working with hundreds of people over the years, to let go of those thoughts and habits is to first be aware of them, right? Like catch them in the beginning when you start to like put yourself down or beat yourself up or say negative things about yourself, is to basically retreat, go into a quiet space as soon as you can and start releasing that by deciding, by saying, what is this feeling? Where does this feeling come from? I have a great journal. Do I have my journal up here? I have a great journal right here that tells you exactly the process to clearing things. Mindful Manifestations Daily Guide and Journal. You can get this on Amazon. It's a beautiful hardcover book, has lots of journaling pages. So you can journal out and get to the bottom. Listen, if we don't ask ourselves these questions, if we don't go inside and get really curious about what's going on inside of us, what are the questions that we need to ask ourselves to elevate from these experiences, we're going to be stuck in these patterns. So I don't believe we don't have access to 95%. And I also do believe that we can take that other 5% and we can amplify it. And how we amplify it is something that I always, preach, which is meditation. Now, think about this for a second. This came to me today, and I think it's just so impactful. When you're meditating, right? When you are in a state of meditation, which is basically the alpha state, you are closing your eyes, right? So you're taking all of your senses away from your present moment, like what's in front of you, and you're closing your eyes and you're going within. And where do you focus? Now, for me, if you're not doing this, this is really, really important, because if you're focused anywhere else except for right here, you're probably in a thought pattern, right? You're probably thinking about what you're going to make for dinner, or what this person did, or who you need to call, or what you need to order, right? These are the normal things that happen to us when we're meditating. But if you can focus right here, and if you're not watching on YouTube or E360, I'm putting my hands on my forehead, right? They talk about it all the time, the third eye, right? Like your pineal gland. So basically, when you meditate, if you close your eyes and kind of lift them up a little bit, so when you're closing your eyes and you look up, and you imagine this forehead area and you focus on this prefrontal cortex as being still and blank. I like to think of like a blackboard or a blue sky, or just darkness, like just blankness. Like if you can get yourself in those states, which you absolutely can. If you believe that you can't and you're having trouble fostering a practice, let me know. I have a teaching on the keys to meditation. I can send it over to you. I think it's available on my website. I think it's like $50 or something. I can't remember if it's on the website or not, but I have it. So just send me an email at livelifegolden@gmail.com, and we'll get you set up with that so that you can start to believe that you can quiet your mind, start to believe that you can spend time in this greater area of this smaller area, this 5% area that's going to radically change your life when you start focusing on it. The beauty of that too is when you start to focus within and you start to gain this ability. In quantum physics, they call it zero state awareness. When you start to actually have moments, it can just be seconds. It doesn't even have to be a couple of minutes. It probably is a couple of minutes, but it probably feels like a couple of seconds. Like I meditate for 21 minutes every day, just like that number. And sometimes I meditate even longer. Like I'll turn my thing off, especially if I have a cat on me, I'll just turn my thing off and I'll go a little bit longer. But in that time, that 21 minutes, it's like so fast. It flies by because I'm in this alpha state where there's like no time. And so I'm not like sitting there just waiting and looking at the clock, because I'm going within. So as we foster this, as we create this muscle and make this muscle stronger, we actually become so much more powerful in our everyday life. Now, we see people like this all the time. And I think it is way more rampant than it's ever been before in our society. But it's been around for a long time. And it's basically when you're living from that 95%. So you're in the habits, you're in the patterns of thought, you're in the to-do list, right? I call it the business mode of life. And I see my family do it all the time. And sometimes I do it as well. I'm not exempt from this for sure. Especially if you're on social media or if you're watching TV. So when you're on your devices or you're watching TV, that's when, think about it this way, you're tuned out. You are literally tuned out of the life you are living. You are tuned out of presence because you're tuned into something else. So what are you missing when you're tuned into those other things? Are you missing out on relationships, important conversations, fun, miracles, opportunities? What are you missing out on by being tuned out of the present moment? So what meditation teaches you is to become hyper focused on the awareness and the attention of the present moment. And there's some really good exercises that you can do just practicing this even in your life with your eyes open. So a great way to do this is like sit in nature and look around you and observe everything that's around you, and get yourself in the energy of, or in the presence of nature all around you. Work on feeling the vibration of that. It's it's really amazing. It's truly amazing. Another thing you can do is just sit in your house and look around your room and observe the room and take it in present as you possibly can. A great thing for relationships is being really present when someone's talking to you. Do you ever do this? I know I don't see a lot of people doing it. I'm not in a lot of conversations where people are doing this, where they're literally focused. You're completely focused on what the other person is saying. You're not thinking about what you're going to say next. You're not thinking about the story that just popped into your head that they prompted. You're listening to them. You're asking questions. You're interested. You're focused. These are all great relationship things because so often we're all just running through life and we're missing these really awesome opportunities to connect. I really feel like one of the major reasons we are here is to connect and to support one another, to navigate this life experience together, right? We're all one love. It's like my favorite reggae music. It's my favorite. It's one love. That's what Bob Marley was trying to tell us. We are one love. So when we take the time to be present and aware with others, we really make a difference. We really make a difference in the day. I have a really good friend who told me recently that she went out grocery shopping and she was really present to the people around her and she had great interactions and she really felt like it up-leveled her vibration. And I was like, I practice that every single day. Now, there are days when I'm not feeling it. I actually will go to the self-checkout. We have self-checkout in California, so I'll do that when I don't feel like connecting with someone. But for the most part, the idea of going and spending a few moments with someone that could potentially change the vibration of where they are and asking them how they are and how their day is going and just having an interaction can seriously up-level your own field, but also theirs, and then everybody else's that comes through their line. So it has huge impact. So when it comes to mindset and manifesting, the different subjects in your life, asking yourself how you feel. So it would be having a conversation with yourself or someone else, someone that you feel safe with, that you can have a conversation with. And it's talking about the different areas of your life and it's pinpointing how you feel about each one of those areas. So if there's an area that you don't feel good, that is to be looked at and to say, how can I release that feeling, release those energies? And first of all, let's just figure out if the way you feel about that is because of the programming that you've had going on with the 95%. Let's just rewind a little bit. Let's go. All right. Where did this feeling start? Okay, my finances, this is just for play. My finances are not making me feel good. They're not in a place I want them to be. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? Well, I could track it back to, a very early age. I think I've shared this story before, but it was so phenomenally impactful when I was coaching. I was like blown away by it. There was a girl who went to college and never used her college degree. And so her feeling was that she wasted her parents' money. So we tracked back and we did some meditation work and started asking the right questions. And what she came to was that when she was 5 years old, right before the age of 7, she had dropped a quarter in the car and it went down inside the seat and she couldn't get it out. And she was terrified that her parents were going to be extremely angry with her. I don't think she ever even told them that she did it because there was always the feeling that there wasn't enough money. So she grew up with this feeling that she was going to waste their money. So she ends up having this huge college bill that her mom was paying for. Her mom had this huge loan on her for college that she didn't use. I think she went to like acting school or something. So she didn't use it. So we do this whole meditation thing. We do a release session. We meet a couple of times and get this stuff sussed out, worked out. And she comes to this new belief system that she's loved and she's supported and she's guided and there's no waste. And she comes to this new place, right? These new belief systems. What ends up happening is the loan got forgiven. I think they did this thing with college loans like a couple of years ago. This was quite a few years ago. And her mom's loan that she had out on her got completely forgiven and washed away. And that is credit to working with your energy systems, working with your emotions, your chakras, getting that energy out. So finding somebody who does energy release work is super valuable when you are working to unleash something, to let go of something, to release something. Really, really valuable. I've worked with lots of people, and I do believe it's part of the reason why my own spiritual awakening has been really intense, and I'm able to do the things that I do today. And everyone can do this. Everyone, every single person can get to the level of where I'm at in their consciousness, in their awakening, in their ability to understand, their ability to really ingest the science and spirituality of manifesting, and to change your mindset at any time. There are levels to our mindset, and the limitation that you've been experiencing in your life up until now literally comes just from your mind and the perceptions and the judgments that you're making about life and about yourself and about your role here and what you have the ability to create. When, people do things like amazing things, incredible things, it makes me think of the guy David Blaine. If you've never seen David Blaine, he's so incredible. He's a magician. I guess you would call him a magician. I don't know. He's had lots of specials. You probably have heard from him. I think he did some underwater tricks on like Good Morning America or something, where he stayed underneath in a box for a really long time. He can hold his breath for an insane amount of time. There's a lot of things on YouTube about him where he actually teaches people how to go into this state where you can literally hold your breath for like a crazy amount of time. And recently we watched this YouTube thing. Actually, it was a few years ago. We watched this YouTube thing where he wanted to be the boy with the balloon who goes up and like holds a balloon, but he wanted it to just like look like he was just holding a balloon. It was so crazy. It was like this 2-hour thing on YouTube, and it was insane what he did. What he's doing is he's defying the odds of everything here. He is literally breaking through limitations, and he's creating something that gives you evidence that that we can move energy, that we can move energy with our mind, that we can do things that seem impossible. And I love people that do that. So David Blaine is somebody, definitely. I didn't know I was going to talk about David Blaine today. I haven't thought about that man in years. But he is really, really phenomenal in letting go of limitations. So if you are limiting yourself, if you're living in this state of limitation where you're like, I can't do anything, I can't change my life, I've got to take care of my family, I've got to pay my bills, I got to go to work, gotta. If you're doing all that gotta stuff, you're in a state of limitation. So if you can you don't have to quit your job. You don't have to, bankrupt your family. You don't have to do anything like that. All you need to do is start with the mindset piece first. Start with visualizing, start with visioning, start actually asking, right? Actually going within and asking yourself, what do I really want? Who does that? Not many people. Most people are walking around talking about what they don't want. I don't want to get sick. I don't want to be late. I don't want to. I did a post on Facebook yesterday. If you're interested, if you're interested in my daily messages, which are like channeled messages that I wake up every single day and do, whether I'm on vacation or not. I don't think I've missed a day probably in, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. You can get it on my Facebook or my Instagram, but if you want it sent to your inbox, go to livelifegoldyn.com, LIVELIFEGOLDYN.com, and subscribe to my website, and then you'll get that blog post every day that will give you those messages. And yesterday I put up a post about, that focusing, that tendency to focus on what you don't want, and how that is a pattern. That is a programming. We have been programmed to always have a plan B because plan A most likely won't work out. So that programming, if we want to shift that, if we want to get out of that programming, it's about having more of a positive expectation about life. And it's having a tendency to go to the positive versus the negative. And I'm telling you right now, this is like a rehypnotist. Like we have to rehypnotize ourselves because we are so immersed and have such a tendency towards negativity. If you grew up that way, if you came into life that way, I actually have a few kids that are like that. Like they see the glass half empty, but I have seen them transform just from being around this information, the information that we share, the things that I teach, the books that I write. I have seen them like give up that tendency. And I will be completely honest with you and tell you that I literally was in that tendency before, complaining, looking at the negative side of life, often focused on what I don't want because I didn't know that there was another way. And maybe you don't know there's another way. And now you're just finding out and you're like, wait, there's another way. You have to let go of victimhood first. And victimhood is a challenging thing to let go of because it keeps you kind of safe, right? That 95% of your brain does not want you to change. It does not want you to go outside your comfort zone. It's going to tell you all the reasons why. That 95% of your brain wants to keep you safe, wants to keep you the same. So when you do something outlandish and crazy, this is going to go bonkers. And it's going to tell you all the reasons why what you're doing isn't going to work. The practice is overriding, continually overriding and reminding yourself who you are, taking in information that allows you to remember. If you're here and you're listening to this, that's what this is about. It's about activating the remembering of how incredibly powerful you are and that you have a choice. In every single moment, you have a choice. And that choice has consequences. It has responses. It has a signal that comes from when you beam that signal out, you get a signal back that is like it. That's like attracts like. So no one is doing anything to you. Nothing is being done to you. None of your power is being taken away. That's all a signal that you are firing when you stay in that programming and that belief system, or you take in and ingest information that tells you that convinces you of that. We don't know what's true, people. We don't know what's true. So look at everything and decide for yourself if you want to believe it or not, if you want it to be true or not. Because if it feels awful and it makes you feel powerless or unworthy or fearful, you don't want to take it on. You don't want to believe it. You don't want to take that into your belief system or keep it going in that patterned place, that habitual pattern. You want to override it enough so that it is no longer a tendency of yours. And this takes work. This takes work. It does. It's not, I would say it's not hard, but it's not easy. It's not easy because in order for you to do this, you have to get out of that tendency to be in your mind all the time, that tendency to overthink things, that tendency to be running around like a chicken with your head cut off. You know, that I've shared before, busyness is an addiction because it makes you feel important. Drama is an addiction because it makes you feel like you matter. So it's getting out of those things that you may think are giving you something in life, right? It's giving you attention, whether it's negative or not, but it's also driving more of those experiences that are just going to keep you in this drama trap. They're going to keep you in this low vibrational place that doesn't allow you to elevate to the higher frequencies of living life to the fullest, right? That's why we're here. I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to take a drink because I literally just talked straight for 30 minutes. Whew, she's feeling it. Okay, getting back to mindset. So looking at your mindset, deciding what you want for yourself. If you want to amplify and multiply what's going on in your life, so like the good stuff, if you want to amplify and multiply the good stuff. So let's just take finances. That one's really always easy. If you want to amplify your finances, feeling broke, feeling like there's never enough, feeling lack, saying that you're waiting for the other shoe to drop, or you're waiting for something to break because you got extra money, All of those things are beaming a signal that are creating your life experience. If you're working in a job that you really hate, it's really hard to create abundance with a job that you hate because you are not in the frequency of love, appreciation, joy, passion, excitement. Those are all energies that drive abundance. They are the same frequency as abundance. So you've got to look at that and you got to say, what would I really love to do? What would feel really good to do? What would feel really purposeful to do? What would make me want to jump out of bed in the morning? Those are great, great questions to ask. And you don't need to get the answers right away. You can write them down, move away from it, and then it's probably going to come to you in the middle of the night or when you're in the shower or when you're meditating. Those things can pop in. You got to be out of the 95% to get ideas that come from the 5%. You got to be out of it. So you got to be meditating. Shower, a lot of times showers, it happens because you're being cleansed. Your auric field is being cleansed by water. Showers or baths are so good for you. So unless you're in there ruminating about things, right? But for the most part, we all just kind of get present when we're in the shower because it's kind of our break, right, from the world, and we get clean. Think about that. You're cleaning your energy field. So while you're in the shower, that 5% has an opportunity to talk to you. When you wake up in the middle of the night, same thing, unless you're waking up and you've got all these anxious thoughts and you're just like wrapped up in that 95%. So to spend more time in the 5% and to amplify that 5%, you've got to get a handle on quieting the mind and focusing your attention on that third eye area, that area in your forehead, that prefrontal cortex. Think about it. Prefrontal cortex. I'm going to go spend some time with my prefrontal cortex. That's what you're doing when you create, when you dream, when you envision, when you get lost in a project. That's where you're at. You're in that 5%, and it's so powerful and meaningful if you can really intend for it, if you could set some really strong intentions. I mean, how many people really set strong intentions in our life? Who's doing it? Who's waking up every day and saying, you know what? I intend to look for things I want to see today. I intend to have the best day ever. Who is doing this? If you're not doing this, you're not really in a powerful position to drive the day in a certain direction. You're kind of like just walking through your day, waiting for the day to tell you what kind of day it's going to be. And that's not very powerful. So if you really want to be powerful, it's getting off on the right foot, right? Setting yourself up for success. I highly recommend exercise first thing in the morning, endorphins, get your body right. Meditation, 1,000% meditation, and setting an intention. And of course, gratitude. Gratitude is always going to set you up for a very high frequency if you allow yourself to really feel it. If you're just being like, oh, I'm grateful because I'm supposed to be grateful so that my day goes good. No. You got to really feel the gratitude. You got to look outside, enjoy this beautiful world that we live in, and really set yourself up for the frequency of gratitude. That's going to be so serving to you when you start your day out like that. I promise, without a doubt. All right. Mindset. Let's get back to mindset. Let's take physical body. So what's your mindset about your physical body? Do you have a lot of ailments? Do you have a lot of illnesses? Do you have a lot of diseases? Do you have like a lot of skin conditions? Skin conditions, crazy thing about skin conditions. Skin conditions like eczema is driven by anger. So if you've got a lot of if you've got repressed anger, right? That will show up as eczema. Think about it. Your skin is angry, right? Psoriasis, eczema, those things are like your skin is angry. If you have a lot of acne is traced to self-hatred, just hating yourself. It also can be dietary as well. These things can be dietary as well. Couple things with skin I would take out is dairy and gluten. Two big components to skin distress are those two dietary things. But if you've already done that and you're still experiencing that, I would go within and clear some anger, because anger is always connected to that skin stuff. And then as far as acne goes, I would definitely go in Find out what you really believe about yourself. Find out if you are really loving yourself. If you're looking in the mirror and you're hating yourself, you're driving that energy and frequency to mess up your skin. And that, what you focus on expands. So if you're really focused on your illnesses, your diseases, or your ailments, they aren't going to have an ability to heal because you're driving the energy of the illness or the sickness. When it comes to like colds and stuff, so we just went on a really amazing vacation. I'll have to share this with you. It was so great. But this was the thing that I want to share about it first. We just went on a vacation twice. We traveled to Arizona to see our granddaughter 2 weeks ago. And then this past weekend, we went to Catalina with our 21-year-old. I now have a 21-year-old. All of my kids are officially like adult age, which I'm doing really well with, actually. You think you're not sure how these things are going to go. I think one of the reasons that I'm okay with my kids getting older is because I've been doing this for so long. So I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm ready for her to be 21. So her request was to hang out with her parents for her 21st birthday. She doesn't drink alcohol. She did try a couple sips of our wine and she can't do it. It's not something that she wants to do. She's very spiritual. She's got a high frequency and alcohol just it doesn't work for her. So she wanted to go to Catalina for the weekend. And so we took a boat over and when we went to Arizona, we flew and then we took a boat over to Catalina and there were a lot of people there. We were around a lot of people. We did a bunch of touristy things. We actually went into a submarine, which was so cool. If you go to Catalina, these are the coolest things to do. I'm not a big touristy person. I don't usually do tourist things, but this time we just kind of reveled in things to do there. And it was so fun. So you could literally go in a submarine, you go under and you can see all the kelp forest and all of the fish. And we saw this amazing cormorant, I think they're called, birds that actually swim under the water. They call them scuba chickens. And they literally look like those rubber chickens and they go underwater. And we got to see one of those, which was so cool. They're actually the birds, when their feathers get wet, they have to dry them out. So if you ever see them on the rocks, they hold their wings out to dry out. So that was really fun. And then we did another safari trip and we got to see some bison, which was so cool. But the thing is, we were with a lot of people. I was aware of people like coughing and things like that. And both trips, we came home and we were completely healthy. And in the past, we have definitely had issues with that. So if you're interested, I do take a mushroom supplement that is now being created by one of my incredible daughters. All of my daughters are so entrepreneurial. So if you are interested in that, it's a fungi, a whole bunch of plants, mushrooms that actually help you. It's like an antifungal. So it will release all that stuff in your body so that you don't actually create and become ill. So it's pretty cool, but it is a mindset thing too, as well. So if you're with a bunch of people and you're feeling fearful and you feel like you're going to get sick and you talk about getting sick, you're definitely going to get sick. But if you do these little things, I think that whether it's a placebo or not, I think taking those vitamins and spraying colloidal silver to keep my respiratory system really clear has been the win for me. So whether it's placebo or not, it settles me down. It helps me not to feel anxious and it helps me not to worry about getting sick so that I'm like, I intend to be healthy. And that is always my intention, is to stay healthy. No matter who I'm around, no matter what I'm doing, the intention is always for health. That's my vibration. That's my foundation. So that's a really great tip for this. What they call the winter flu season is actually a vitamin D deficiency season because we all go inside. And so vitamin D is super important at this time of year. Also, I do a zinc supplement every day and an omega supplement. So mindset, though, when it comes to your physical body, is how do I feel about my body? When I get up in the morning, what do I say about my body? What do I decide about my body for the day? How do I treat my body? How do you treat your physical body? Do you put a bunch of junk food in it? Do you put a bunch of alcohol in it? Do you smoke a bunch of weed? Do you not exercise it? Do you not move your body? Do you just like fill it with a bunch of junk and then take a bunch of pills to try to offset the illness that you're actually moving towards? My husband and I had our blood work done a little while ago, and we were both considered pre-diabetic. Like it was like a precursor, which basically was like our insulin levels were not high, but it was like what our body was doing with blood sugar. So now we're on a supplement for that. But if you're treating your body like crap, there's a tendency that you're going to go in the direction of not being healthy for very long. So it's important to get a handle on that. But most importantly is the signal. So how you treat your physical body is the signal that you're sending. So how you treat your physical body is how you really feel about yourself, right? Do you respect yourself? Do you believe that you can heal? If you've been dealing with an illness for a long time, do you have the belief system to know that your cells regenerate every 3 to 7 days? So no illness should be forever. It should be for a time to call you to something that needs to be healed within you, and then to heal from that and to release yourself from that. So I know our illness industry it's really big. It's really big. So we want to get a handle on that. We want to get power from that. We want to step back into a place where we actually dictate how we feel, what we put into our bodies, and we become super aware over the signal that we're sending to the body that we have. Okay, so mindset about your level of success, or what you're doing in the world, what you're providing for the world. I often I think about, sometimes I see people who are takers. They're always asking the universe for something. They're always asking other people for something. Their relationships are usually out of balance, where it's all about them and they're not contributing. If that's the case, you're probably not aware of it, right? I don't think most of these people are aware that that's the way that they are. But if you see that, there'll be an imbalance of the universe, and the universe will end up taking something from them. So if you feel like things are being taken from you, definitely look at your exchange value. So what you're exchanging in the world, in the universe. It's funny, it wasn't funny, not funny. We were on the submarine, and my daughter had her camera, and she pulled her camera out, and by accident she hit the button, and her lens literally flew out and went into the ocean. And she was so bummed out, and I was like, whatever, we'll buy another lens, like whatever. And the lady who was the director of the submarine, she said, oh, Poseidon wanted that. And my daughter said, I've been going to the beach and I've been taking a lot of shells, and I didn't give any sort of offering. So there was an imbalance that now was being corrected. So as bummed out as she was, she saw the reason for it. So just realize that if you're taking a lot, if you're always taking, the universe is going to balance that out by taking something from you. So you want to be in a good exchange field in your relationships, in the things you're doing at work, in the way that you're navigating the world. You want to have a good balance of give and take and love, and, giving and receiving love. If you have trouble receiving, this is really, really important. If you have trouble receiving, which means when people give you compliments or they give you gifts, you feel embarrassed, or you feel like you want to push it away. If you have trouble receiving, that will create a kind of a scrambled energy in your field, and you will have a hard time manifesting, because the universe wants to give. It really wants to give to you. But if you can't receive, that's like a big signal to the universe, don't give me anything because I have a hard time receiving. And sometimes it can be pride. It can be just an embarrassment, like something happened again. That's part of that 95% of the programming, that something happened when you were younger that created that disassociation with receiving, with being, okay to receive, right? Like a lot of us didn't have some positive mindsets instilled about sharing or giving or receiving, right? Or even deciding what we want in life, right? You get what you get and you don't get upset. That was something that was like programmed into us, about like you better be grateful for what's coming to you, even if it's what you don't want. You need to be grateful, because getting upset about not having what you want is you're spoiled. You're not a good person, you're spoiled rotten. And I'm a big advocate for gratitude. But it didn't teach us the greatest way to hone our focus and decide what we want to create in our life. So there you go. All right. So let me just see if there's anything else about mindset. So let's do some clearing. All right, let's do some clearing. Let's do some clearing on that beautiful mind of yours, and disengage a little bit from that 95%. All right, so take a deep breath and let it out, and let your shoulders drop. And really breathe all the way out. Just let your lungs totally empty. And breathing in. And breathing out. A great way to clear your mind is to breathe in really, really deep. Let your abdomen come out and then hold it for 10 seconds and then breathe it out. That clears your mind so productively. So if you're having trouble with monkey mind, that will bring you right into the state of that prefrontal cortex. Let's hold it. And when you hold, imagine you're squeezing from the bottom of your body. So really bring your tummy in all the way and just squeeze all the way up. That actually moves your spinal fluid and allows you to connect a little deeper. And then breathing out. Beautiful. All right, so let's see what's going on in here. So we ask divine energies, angelic energies, and all of our non-physical support. Ooh, they are with us. Huge vibrational uplift. Okay. We just ask that they release anyone who is listening to this or anyone around this, just to be released from these patterns. So imagine that in your mind, the back of your head, we've got this beautiful light, and it's just clearing and cleansing and swirling all around the top of your head. And breathing out, you just breathe out all of the confusion and the blocks to your clarity, the limited thinking, the limited mindsets, the blockages to your manifestation, any beliefs that you're not good enough or not worthy enough, any programmings or patterns that are not yours that do not serve you. We ask that that is fully released. And we ask that all of the times that we are taken out of the present moment, that releases its hold on us. Yes, that monkey mind, that business mode, that being, not being present, all of that is released. That tendency is released. The tendency to be negative, the tendency to be cynical or pessimistic, all of those energies, we ask that they be released now, that we are under the light of awakening, that we are being born anew, under a new star, where we can see fully through our third eye, through our real eyes. We can really see the beauty and the grace and the peace and the love and the joy in this world, activating that creative center. This is all in all in the front of your brain. So we often do chakra releases, but this is just for those tendencies. It's just for the brain. So in that prefrontal cortex, we just release any energies around it that don't serve us. Any calcification. So we take a deep breath and release any calcification around that pineal gland, allowing it to be opened up to our intuition, to our creative centers, to our dreams, to our hopes, to our visions, to our manifestational powers. We just ask for a switch to be turned on within us, where we are excited about life. We are ready to play. We are ready to play this at the fullest potential, activating purpose and knowing and truth and power, and our ability to be one with one another, where love and compassion really fuel us, really dictate what we do. and to set strong intentions for our life, to be truly abundant, to be truly healthy, to be truly happy, to be of a high vibration, to celebrate more, to be in the greatest energy from the moment our feet hit the floor, to be in charge of our day, to be in charge of our lives, and to decide that in this moment, we remember who we are and what we came here for. Living through faith, trust, and intuition, which is stronger than it's ever been. Believing, knowing, and feeling the field of creation is ripe and ready for our desires to be fulfilled. And just take a couple of breaths and let that integrate within you. Allow yourself to really feel it, really know it, and to really become it. Oh, that was so good. So awesome. Okay, so I'm going to do a little roulette with our spiritual book that we have here. So let's see. Okay, so we're going to just do a little Russian roulette and ask for a message to come through today. And let's see. Here we go. Let's see. Okay, allowing. Let me just see where we want to start here. The great dance of the universe is one that many shy away from because they allow their fears to be the driving force in their lives, right? The 95%. The dance then becomes a somewhat tug of war in the energy field between what most don't want and what the universe wants to orchestrate for them. There's that word, orchestration. The greatest lesson in manifesting is to treat it like a dance and let the universe do the leading. You direct the dance with your awareness to have fun, to know what you want, and to be part of something. But you can then relax in the direction of your life with the greatest dance partner ever known, the universe itself. You don't have to take control of the dance floor anymore. You just have to follow the energy field that will keep calling you forward to fulfill your desires. Wow. That sounds so much easier than forcing things into place. What a freeing feeling to know that I am being led, directed, and encouraged to keep moving forward, and so are you. I got to just read a little bit of this next chapter. Let the higher mind lead. So the 5% is the higher mind, and that higher mind, that higher state of consciousness is connected with when you quiet your mind. Understanding the dance you're creating in your life requires a bit of letting go of the old ways of operating. God, I love this. An important awareness of your lower and higher mind will help you navigate what is happening and manifest the best outcomes. If you were to think in terms of the lower mind as your logical self, right, that 95%, as you begin meditating, and for the most part, for your whole life, you've been potentially instructed by your lower mind, that 95%. As you began meditating and quieting your mind, you started the process of incorporating your higher mind or intuition to be part of your conduction. The lower mind is your logic. It is the one usually brings you a problem to work on and is the one that will always tell you why something won't work. Its job is to keep you safe and the same. The higher mind has a higher perspective and will give you a broader sense and feeling that things will work out for you. The lower mind can only work from what has happened. The higher mind works in the field of potentiality and will lead you toward the fulfillment of your true desires in what could happen. This is why when you are working so hard to figure out how to do things, you may feel frustrated and not in the flow. When you let go and allow the higher mind to lead you, you then see miracles, energy moving in your favor, and solutions come quite easily. Your higher mind can see the full picture, so it can lead you in the direction of the easiest and best path for you. The lower mind is set to distract you and keep you in cycles of victimhood. In order to hear more from the higher mind, you must let go of the old ways of thinking and doing and return to your foundation, as everything always works out for you. You must spend time in the quiet so you can contact the higher mind and give it center stage. Oh man, so good. All right, so The Perfect Unfolding for the Expansion of Your Soul is available on Amazon, or if you contact me, livelifegolden@gmail.com, I will send you a signed copy with a personal message in it. I have Quantum Speak for Parents, also available on Amazon, Mindful Manifestations Daily, and then I have Mindful Manifestation Secrets, which is also available on Audible. That's my first book, which is more science-y. These are all available on Amazon. I'm probably going to do a bundle for Christmas if you wanted to get all of these for someone or for yourself. I will do a bundle for Christmas. So I'll let you know what that's going to be and how to access that. All right, guys. Whew. I really felt like I talked a lot this time. I know I always do, but geez Louise, I felt like there was no break in this stream of consciousness today, and just really getting this information out and getting you to ingest something that will radically change your life. Radically. It has radically changed my life to know this information and to also apply it. And then have those around me reminding me when I fall, when I trip, and saying, hey, you're complaining a lot. What are you doing? My kids will even do it. You're complaining a lot. Okay, let's get out of complaining, right? Because complaining just brings us more of what we don't want and sets us up for a frequency where we will complain more. So here we are. We're in this life. We might as well navigate it in the highest vibrational frequency possible. And these are the ways to do it. I love you all. And this has been a great show. And thank you for being here. Peace.